The SCBWI Impact and Legacy Fund is proud to present the winner for the 2025-2026 cycle of the Charlotte and Wilbur Award for Compassion for Animals, The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle, written by Sy Montgomery and illustrated by Matt Patterson.
Hi, I'm Sy Montgomery.
And I'm Matt Patterson.
And we're going to read to you from our book, The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle.
This is Fire Chief, a 42-pound common snapping turtle who is strong and brave. He's as old as your grandparents and still could be the ruler of his pond when you're a grandparent too.
But when Fire Chief was born, he was almost as small as a quarter, so small that even a fish could swallow him. As a baby, he had to spend most of his time hiding.
Fire Chief has been lucky, though, and has had help from human friends during his many adventures. Without their help, we couldn't tell his incredible story.
It all began one rainy spring evening about 60 years ago. A scaly, shelled visitor hauled herself up a sandy New England hill. She had left her pond and walked for many hours to reach this south-facing slope. Here, under the cover of twilight, she dug a hole with her strong back legs and laid more than a dozen precious eggs the size of ping-pong balls. She carefully covered them back up with sand and then left to return to her pond. The warm summer sun would do the rest.
3 months later, the smooth sand exploded with life. The baby snapping turtles had hatched.
They didn't know how lucky they already were, for many nests get destroyed. Skunks and raccoons dig up the eggs to eat them. Drought can dry them out. Ants and flies invade the nest. People and dogs sometimes disturb the eggs too.
Though lucky, these baby turtles still had a difficult journey ahead. They had to find a pond, and each baby turtle had to face many dangers while getting there.
Hungry foxes and coyotes might find them. Birds like crows could swoop in for a turtle feast. Snakes might swallow them whole. Even a chipmunk will eat a little turtle.
Brave baby Fire Chief walked down the hill and crossed the country road. On tiny, clawed feet, smaller than pencil erasers, he plodded through the fields. He passed a house and walked through a yard.
A quarter-mile away, he found a small pond shaped like a heart. It was the water supply for a brand new fire station. And it was perfect.
Fire Chief quickly hid among the cattails, pickerelweed, and lily pads. Frogs and fish couldn't see him. He hid from the heron who visited. Not even the firefighters in the firehouse knew he was there.
Until, years later, someone spotted the snapping turtle basking on a log. Fire Chief was now 10 years old. He was nearly a foot long, big enough that almost no one could eat him. He was no longer afraid. He was king of his pond. What a lucky turtle.
Every fall, some of the firefighters would see Fire Chief crawl out of his heart-shaped pond and walk across the road to a larger pond. This was a better place for him to spend the winter, buried in the mud. The crew would see him again each spring when he came back to his summer pond, a better place to find fish, insects, and plants that he loved to eat.
Years went by, then decades. The firefighters watched Fire Chief grow. Fire Chief watched the people grow older too. He met their sons and daughters and saw their children grow up. Some became firefighters themselves.
The town was also changing. There were more houses, more people, more cars. The dirt road separating Fire Chief's summer and winter ponds was paved with asphalt and painted with a double yellow line. The country lane had become a state highway filled with fast cars.
And then, one day, Fire Chief was unlucky.
A passerby called for help. Badly hurt, Fire Chief crawled back to his heart-shaped pond. The firefighters gathered nearby, worried about their friend. But they were too afraid to pick him up. Fire Chief was now a very big snapping turtle. He weighed as much as a lawnmower, and most people, even brave firefighters, are afraid of them.
But not the people at Turtle Rescue League. Natasha and Alexia arrived in their turtle ambulance. They launched their kayak in the pond. Alexia dived in and came up with Fire Chief in her arms.
Back at the turtle hospital, Natasha and Alexia cleaned Fire Chief's wounds. They patched his broken shell. The accident had also injured his back legs, but snapping turtles are strong and brave, and sometimes lucky. Give him time, Natasha said. We never give up on a turtle, Alexia agreed.
When his wounds began to heal, Fire Chief was moved to a big hospital tank.
Thanks to the good care at the Rescue League, Fire Chief's broken shell was on the mend, but he still could barely move his back legs. To help strengthen them, Natasha and Alexia made a plan. Volunteers would help him exercise to build up muscle and flexibility. Sometimes other injured turtles would join him in the turtle garden. They built him a special wheelchair so he could exercise indoors year-round, even on the slippery floors.
Seasons passed and Fire Chief's confidence grew. With the volunteers' help, his legs became stronger.
But were they strong enough to get him across the busy highway between his summer and winter ponds? Would he be fast enough to beat the whizzing cars? Is any turtle?
Alexia and Natasha feared the big turtle's legs would never fully recover. But Fire Chief's friends came up with a solution. They dug him a pond far from any road.
They planted it with cattails, pickerel weed, and lily pads. They filled it with water with a shallow end and a deep end so he could choose just the right spot to spend both summer and winter.
Now Fire Chief is king of his own pond again, with a little help from his human friends. What a lucky turtle. This is a true story. We know Fire Chief very well. We see him every day.
We met him while we volunteered at the Turtle Rescue League about, what, 6 years?
2020.
Yeah, 2020. And at the time, he had been there for 2 years and he had healed. His injuries had healed, but his back legs still weren't working well. So we actually got to do physical therapy with him.
That's right. And we were there in on the design of his bespoke wheelchair. We were the first ones to give him exercise out of his hospital tank.
Yeah, and we found out he's very unique and friendly snapping turtle. A lot of people are afraid of snapping turtles, and they're really good for ponds, for rivers. They're scavengers, so they're really important.
Yeah, Matt and I, the first time we took him out, we were walking him around and we wanted to make sure that he didn't scrape his bottom shell or plastron on rocks, because normally if your legs are strong, a snapping turtle walks tall. But he was kind of dragging his back end along on the ground. So what would happen was Matt would pick him up, we'd check the plastron, make sure he was okay, and Matt would put him back down.
Yeah, and then we, at the same time, reached out and scratched his neck, which you shouldn't do to a snapping turtle. But we did it with him, and we found out he was very friendly, he's very gentle, and we had a real connection with him.
And we're able to feed him by hand. He makes a point of not biting us. If you float his food in the water, he'll snap at it. But if you hand it to him with your fingers, he'll gently, gently open his mouth and make sure that he doesn't make a mistake and bite.
Yeah, he's a very special turtle, and his story really happens all over, North America.
And we're hoping that this book is a model of resilience and a model showing us that snapping turtles aren't monsters. They're beautiful animals who think and feel and know and need our help. We are so honored that our book is receiving the Charlotte and Wilbur Award. And it's our hope in writing this book to turn all the readers into turtle heroes, because we can help.
Yeah, I love that this award exists, and it's for books on compassion for animals, because they need that.